What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of the Limitless podcast with Chris M. Walker. The first thing that you will notice is that we now have a name for the podcast. I started it last week after having the idea and just deciding to get started, and I didn't even have a name ready to go for it yet. So I just recorded and figured I'd figure it out later. But I went ahead and the next day or two after that and figured out I would go with the name Limitless Podcast because it's kind of my philosophy on business and success in general is that we can achieve anything we want and we are completely limitless except for the limitations that we place on ourselves. So I thought about it for a while and I felt like that's really what I want to call this, at least for the time being. So that's what we went with. So today what I want to talk about is guarantees. More specifically, the type of guarantees that you see in a lot of internet marketing, consulting, coaching type of offers and ads and things like that, where they'll say something like, I guarantee I will get you 50 new appointments a day within 30 days, or I will keep working until I do. Or the guarantee will be like, or I'll personally write you a check, refund you and write you a check for $100, or I will double your money back, or something like that. The problem that I have with these is it's really, really poor copywriting, and it's really just a gimmick to sell people that aren't really interested in your product or service and probably aren't qualified for your product or service. Let's talk about it from a psychology standpoint and why it doesn't work in that way. And that is that it's immediately putting it in the prospect's head. Not only that you might fail, but that you have failed so often that you have to have a guarantee of some kind in place to account for that, so people will still buy your crappy product or service. When I read that, I immediately stop looking at it because I know that they've done that they've screwed up enough that they had to address it and come up with a way to overcome that objection. I know that the theory behind it is that you are removing the pain and making it so you're doing the Alex Hormozy thing where you're making an offer so good that your customer feels stupid not taking it. But what you're really doing is pointing out that you don't have a good enough service, a good enough product, or a good enough offer to sell it based on the value that it provides and the way it solves the customer or client's pain for them. That's how an actual skilled salesperson closes a deal. They explain they figure out what the person needs, what kind of pain they're in, and then they tell them how their product or service or offer removes that pain and makes their life better. So when you have to use a guarantee, you're just using a trick that makes people think about the guarantee rather than your product or service. And if they buy based on that guarantee, they probably aren't going to be a good client, aren't going to be a good customer, or aren't going to be someone that should be buying your product or service in the first place. And I know a lot of marketers don't care about that. All they care about is making the sale. The way a marketer evaluates if a product or service or offer is good is if it converts and nothing after that. They don't care if the product or service actually helps anybody or does any good or is of any value. As long as they can use copy to sell a product or service, they consider that product or service to be good. So that's all they consider, and that's why they have such a bad reputation. But I'm getting a little bit off track here. Using guarantees like this is a surefire way to get low value clients. It may work in getting you upfront sales, but you aren't going to get people that are going to be lifelong supporters of your product or service or brand. And that may be okay with you if you're just a guru slinging info products or things like that. But if you want to build a long-term 7, 8, 9, 10-figure business, it's not going to work with guarantees that are so bad. Not going to work by having to offer a gimmick of a guarantee to close a deal. What's really going to work is having a good enough product that people want to use it and will go and tell their friends, their colleagues, their coworkers, their family, their friends, whatever it may be, that to go and use that product. And I've beat up on the internet marketing space here a lot, but I've seen it in other industries too. For example, I went to Taco Bell a while back. I know. But I went to Taco Bell a while back and they had a sign in the restaurant, if you want to call it that said something like, we offer hot quality fresh food every single time and we get it right every time, but if we mess up, we will fix it with no questions asked for free, or something to that effect. And I'm thinking, So they're admitting that they screw up so often that they have to prepare people for that possibility in a sign in their restaurant where people have already come in and have already, presumably are already going to buy some Taco Bell, that they know that they screw up at putting food in a bag so often that they have to help people overcome that fear right away that they're going to get it fixed. To me, that tells me that they need to work on fixing their processes and stuff like that. If putting food in a bag is too difficult for them, the solution is not to offer a guarantee that you're going to fix it when you do fuck up. It's that you won't fuck up in the first place, and you will actually get them a product or service or a taco that will satisfy their need of being hungry or wanting a taco or whatever it is. So it's not just in the internet marketing space, although they're by far the most blatant ones that use these ridiculous over-the-top offers that will likely be more likely to close, but aren't really selling the product or service. They're just getting somebody to give you their money. So maybe you're okay with that, but if you are, then you have other problems in your moral values and character that you need to fix when it comes to doing business. But that's what I wanted to talk about today, was using guarantees and using over-the-top guarantees to close sales and make deals is really poor salesmanship, poor marketing, and is not going to lead to a long-term sustainable business or brand. And you should really consider going another direction with the way that you close sales. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to try to keep making these on Sundays, continue to make them be tactical things that you can actually implement and consider based on your own business and what you're doing and so on. But there will be occasionally a theoretical or a mindset type of one as well. So let me know your feedback on that. Let me know your feedback on the podcast in general. And and if wherever you're watching this, like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm pushing this out to a whole bunch of different platforms. So do whatever it is that you do on that platform to get it out there. Again, there's nothing for sale in these. I just want to give back. I've built an 8-figure business in Legiit that sells no product and no services. I've got a lot of experience on what works and what doesn't in business. And I want to start helping people in that regard and start giving back in that way. So thanks for listening. Again, comment, like, share, subscribe, whatever it is that you do on the platform you're listening or watching on. And I'll see you next week. Thanks.